I'm just sitting there watching my car get repossessed as I'm at this coffee shop. I literally had less than $100 in my bank account, probably less than $50. If it wasn't for the money I had in my bank account at that said time, I wouldn't have had a ride home. So I literally used my last little money to like go and ride home, to get home, and to go home, be without internet, to like just not have anything. It was a lot. So every time you think you're alone, I promise you, God is with you. Hey YouTube, it's Candace Janae. I'm a Christian entrepreneur, author, and speaker. I spend my time traveling, spending time with family, and creating content. I love helping women build profitable businesses, so welcome to my YouTube channel. Hey guys, it's Candace Janae. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and welcome back if you're a subscriber or have been paying attention for a while. Today I'm here to talk about dealing with depression as an entrepreneur, and I feel like it's a very, very necessary topic to talk about, especially because the past few years have been really difficult for a lot of people. And you know, that has not been foreign to me either. And so I want to kind of walk through some things that have really, really helped me on the journey of entrepreneurship and, dealing with like bouts of depression, whether it may be, you know, anxiety, depression, or whatever those said things are. And in no way am I like a mental health expert. In no way am I, you know, a trauma coach or any of that or any of those things. I'm just sharing my personal experience and expertise, or not expertise, I wouldn't even call it that. Like my personal experience as a full-time entrepreneur and just dealing with like the bouts of depression that you may experience as an entrepreneur. I don't know that every entrepreneur experiences depression, but I know several that have. And so I'll give you guys a little bit of a background about me and my story, my journey, just so that you can understand where I'm coming from. And so for me, I basically quit my job in 2017, and it was a six-figure job, walk away from that. I have a master's in business, and I did all those things to basically walk away from my full-time corporate job, and pursue my own dreams. And I remember when I was going after my path of like full-time entrepreneurship, I remember feeling like, dang, I wish people would have told me it was gonna be like this. I wish people would have told me that it wasn't easy. And I think people told you that it wasn't easy, but I don't think people tell you the depth of like what you really be going through from time to time. Like there are times when things are really great, and there are times when things are really not so great. So, you know, since quitting my job in corporate America, I built a multiple six-figure business, all that, but it took time to get to that place. And even now, I still have moments of like extreme anxiety and low lows where I honestly have to bounce back from them in ways that I wasn't sure. Like, I don't be sure how everything's gonna work out all the time. And I think that adds a lot of pressure to things. And so I just wanted to come on here to be like super vulnerable about the fact that, you know, entrepreneurship is not easy, and just share some things that have helped and worked for me. So like I said, I walked away from my job in 2017, started building my business. In 2018, I launched my first conference through my business, Epic Fab Girl. Had no money to make it happen, but by God's grace, it all worked out. Everything was paid for, but I was stressed out in the process. Like I had no idea how everything was gonna get paid for, and it got paid for miraculously in the final hour. And then, you know, that entire year, I started, you know, speaking across the country. I was still getting clients and things like that. 2019 rolled around, I started getting clients and things like that, but it wasn't like I had passed a threshold of really making a substantial income, because I was still kind of figuring things out in business. So while I was getting, you know, 4 figures from clients, I still was struggling to sustain on the 2 different businesses that I have, because I have Epic Fab Girl, and then I also have my Candace Janae consulting company. And so basically in 2019, I made the decision to kind of invest my last into my, I made the decision to invest my last into my business. So the money that I was getting in on one business, I invested it into the other business, thinking that it would get a return on an investment. And literally I walked away with no money. I walked away with like $11,000 in debt. I literally went home from the conference and the event that I was hosting, and I had over, how much did I have what happened was I came home and the people that were staying at my house were like, for the weekend, were like, girl, can you, like, the internet has been weird all weekend. I'm like, yo, the internet bill was not paid. So that was wild. And that took me on a crazy journey after that. So essentially my internet wasn't paid. And that was like October 2019, and I just didn't have money to like really pay it. So that just kind of went unpaid for a little while. And I ended up like that. I think that same month was the same month that my car ended up getting repossessed. I remember just like struggling to get work done because it was just like, I felt like I had no help. I felt like I had no support. I felt like when I asked my family, even though they understood like that I was going after a dream, they also thought I was literally nuts. Like, they probably won't ever say that to my face, but they think I'm crazy, you know? And so they're just like, well, you have 2 degrees. You have a mechanical engineering degree and you have a master's in business. Why don't you just go, you know, get a job? Like, and I'm just like, no, you don't understand it. Like, I would get a job if it made sense. Like, I was driving Uber at one point in time, but then like, I just really felt led by God to like really go all in on my purpose and all in on my business. And at that point it was really, really wild. So long story short, my car got repossessed while I like had gone out of my way to go to a coffee shop downtown or like up north in Chicago. And I went to this coffee shop. I'm like finally getting enough strength to get out the bed and actually do work. And as I'm sitting there, I'm like, y'all, I'm gonna cry, so it is what it is. But I'm just sitting there watching my car get repossessed as I'm at this coffee shop. I literally had less than $100 in my bank account, probably less than $50. If it wasn't for the money I had in my bank account at that said time, I wouldn't have had a ride home. So I literally used my last little money to like go and ride home, to get home and to go home, be without internet, to like just not have anything. It was a lot. It was very stressful. It was very annoying. And I think the big struggle, especially as an entrepreneur, is that you feel like people don't get it. You feel like people don't understand. And I think for me, I was in a place where I'm like, how? Like, this is ridiculous. So, you know, I'm like at this point struggling to get out of bed daily, struggling to really, it's just a struggle. Like, who wants to show up and be positive and like be pushing people to do what they've been called to do when you're struggling to like do your own, like to do that for yourself and feel unsupported and feel like, you know, though you're making these contributions to society, it doesn't have, you know, a monetary response. And so that was really stressful at the time. And then that was October of 2019. November, I don't really remember. It was a blur. I was probably in my bed playing Candy Crush all day long. And then December 2019 rolled around, and the day after Christmas, I was literally served foreclosure papers on my home. And that was really stressful because I felt like in that moment, I felt like I was at like in the pits. Like, I'm just like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, I thought that going after my dreams was gonna be fun, and you know, I knew it would be a little difficult, but I didn't know that it would look like that this was the level of difficult it would be. And you know, I really grappled with God because I'm like, God, this is what you want me to do? Are you sure? And I just felt so alone and like trapped. Like, I had bills piling up. I had no way of figuring out how they were gonna get paid. I had no idea. Like I literally had no idea. So I ended up turning that into, like, it was the wildest thing. Like, you know, like I honestly gave up. Like I gave up. Like I just was like, you know what? I have nothing else to give. These people aren't gonna get nothing from me. I might have been still posting on Instagram at the time, trying to inspire people and like really giving them insightful information. But I just, like, on the inside, I gave up. And, you know, I was just like, God, this is gonna have to be a you thing. And literally I ended up basically going to an event, and after that got the courage to kind of, you know, pray and ask God for what I really, really wanted. Even though I was praying the whole time, this time it was different because I put a demand on it. And so here I was in my apartment. I remember just, you know, like, because at my old apartment I had like this prayer closet. It was like a closet, and it was a big closet, but I had like just written all these things on the wall. And, you know, I had been faithfully tithing. So anytime I made money in my business, or anytime I made money, period, I was like literally tithing. So I brought out my tithing record. I bought out, you know, like my budget, like knowing like, okay, God, this is what I need this money for, and all the bills that I owed that were piling up. And I just laid them down like in a circle, like on my floor. And I just sat there and I just prayed. And I just kept praying, like, for release. I kept praying for, like, I just kept praying. I was like, you know, Lord, I just declare release. And I was like praying release, release, release. Like I kept yelling it to the point that I was like crying and like screaming like release, release, release. And I prayed that with expectation and declared that with expectation. And the reason why I'm even recording this is because I think so many times, like, we see the good moments, but we don't see like the messy middle. Like we don't see like the struggle to get to the mountaintop, and, you know, the struggle to even speak to the mountain and tell it to move. So that was just the craziest. That was probably January of 2020. And then God just started to do a miraculous chain of events in my life where he started sending me clients. I still was like behind on stuff, but then I had my first multiple 5-figure month. Like my first 5-figure month was like multiple 5 figures. And that was probably by April 2020. They like paused foreclosures. And in 2020, I built a 6-figure business, and it was just wild because it was like God literally accelerated what I was doing in both of my businesses. And, you know, sometimes like people be like, why are you always talking about money? Like on the internet. I'm like, because I didn't have it, and I want other people to understand that no matter where they've been, that they can build something with what God has given them. And then that, you know, if God has called you to do that, that's what he's gonna allow for you to do. So I think for me, it just was very stressful, like being in those low moments. And, you know, even after building a multiple 6-figure business, like I've wasted tens of thousands of dollars. There have been months where I didn't know how I was going to pay my team. There have been months where I had, you know, like I'm literally fighting to, you know, build my business and grow my business and expand my business, but I'm still feeling like I'm left depleted and feeling like people are just like, I don't understand why you still trying. You should just go back to corporate America. And so that's pretty much that has been my journey. And I think like for y'all, like the thing that I will say is, you know, number one, definitely have a really solid like relationship with God, but, you know, just meditate, like spend your time like meditating in the morning and directing your day. Because I think a lot of times, you know, even this morning, like why I'm recording this is because like today I'm struggling. Like I'm not doing well. Like I am not doing well today. And, you know, I think sometimes we allow for things to dictate our day. So I wake up, you know, I pick up my phone and then I see a message on my phone, and then it like throws my whole day off, and I'm spiraling down because I'm worrying and concerned about this one said thing in business that is stressing me out. But it's like I haven't even had the opportunity to really just focus my mind before the day starts. And so what I have learned is to really have an intentional morning routine. And anytime I mess up that morning routine, because I like fell asleep on the couch last night, but anytime I like mess up that morning routine, like my day is thrown off, my mental is thrown off, things are thrown off. So I challenge you to have a morning routine that's going to empower you with affirmations, with prayer, with really kind of sitting with God and like allowing yourself to feel your thoughts and think your thoughts, and you be the master of your thoughts and tell your thoughts what to think, and not allow your thoughts to control you and your emotions. Because that's pretty much how my day went today. Was like, I just was allowing my thoughts to just spiral, and it was a mess. Like, it was terrible. It got to the point that I literally turned off all of my technology. I'm like, I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to do nothing. Like, I'm just not in the mood. And so the first thing, like I said, is having this morning routine. I think that has really helped me. The second thing is to have, and talk to people who really get it. And have a circle of people who, like, when you do talk to them, that they're a safe space, but when they get it, they can like speak life into you and speak power into you, because it will get tough at times. And the third thing I'll say is, like, be careful who not to talk to, because there'll be people who will, they mean well, they love you, but they're gonna speak from a place of doubt. They're gonna be like, yeah, no, you shouldn't have done that, or, basically make the situation worse and not better. And so make sure that you're having people that you do talk to about it that are actually people that can pour into you and that understand what you're doing and the path that you're going on. And yeah, you don't want to be talking to people who just really don't get it, because they're just only going to make it worse. They're going to only make you feel more stressed, more overwhelmed when they start speaking from a place of doubt. And then last but not least is, like, y'all, therapy is so serious. Like, go to therapy, get counseling. One of the things I struggled with a ton at that time was I didn't have money for counseling. I was stressed out about that. Like, when I was really, really going through, I didn't have the finances for it. But if you are really struggling financially and you don't have money, there's a lot of state governments that, not only provide food stamps, but they provide medical insurance, and that medical insurance will provide mental health insurance. And so there are ways that you can, get out of the place of where you're at. That's what it's created. You don't have to feel ashamed about it either. And so that's one really, really big thing. But my encouragement to you is to, like, literally never give up, but still give yourself the grace to slow down when you need to. Like, if you're not in a good mental headspace, like, don't work. Like, it's okay. Fall back from it. Go back to God and do what you got to do. But, I'm here to tell you that it's a struggle sometimes. Entrepreneurship is a struggle. And people may not always get, the struggles that you're going through. It may not always be financial. It may be that someone on your team quit. It could be anything. But, just allow yourself to have the grace, and to also have a therapist to actually be able to talk to and talk through some of this stuff with. But yeah, it's not always easy, but make sure that you have community. And, at the end of the day, like, entrepreneurship is not going to be easy every single step of the way, but the more community that you have and the more grace that you give yourself, I promise you that it gets better. And even for me, like, there were low moments, but I also have moments to celebrate. So in the same way I was given foreclosure papers, my home was able to be sold in 2021. And, I was free from that. I was able to make money, pay off debt, things like that. And so, at some point it's going to work itself out. And so I just pray that this video has helped you guys in some capacity. And I just wanted to be real and raw about just, like, struggling with depression and really figuring out how to get out of those low places. But I just want you to know that you're not alone and that your life matters. And even if you have thoughts that are like, life would be better if you weren't here, I'm reminding you that we need you here. We deserve you here, and don't let up, like, and don't let like your situation, you know, force you into a decision that to make you feel like that's the only decision you have to make. And I'm just saying this from a place of like, I've been there, I've had the thoughts, you know, there's just like a burden that comes when you have such pressure on you and you don't know what to do and you don't have the answers. And so, you know, I think it's really, really important to understand that if you do need help, like, reach out for help, let people know you're not doing well. 2021 was another year where I dealt with depression, not just because of entrepreneurship, but because I dealt with some really deep trauma, and I didn't know how I was gonna bounce back from it. But opening up my mouth and telling people that I was struggling was like one of the best decisions I could have made, because I wouldn't be here. Yo, I'm telling you, like, take care of yourself. And you know, your business is gonna be there, but take care of yourself. Like, I cannot tell y'all enough. Please take care of yourself. What I have for y'all is that I want y'all to, like, for real, like, just please take care of yourself. Prioritize your mental health, and don't let people make you feel like you're crazy. Get the support that you need. Get a safe space. If you don't feel safe, don't share. But, you know, do what you have to do to still keep living and walking out the purpose that God has for you, and never forget that God will literally be with you every single step of the way. So every time you think you're alone, I promise you, God is with you. Okay? All right, I love y'all, and I appreciate you guys for listening to me today, and I just pray that you be encouraged. All right, bye y'all.